Oh my, okay. First video on a new phone, and first in a little bit. How is everybody? Wanted to say hello and well wishes. Wow, well, just like you, I'm doing okay, sometimes not okay. Some days are amazing in life, some days not so much. Sometimes we are right where we need to be, and sometimes we figure, whoa, this seems very far from where I want to be. Everything that happens to us is certainly ultimately from our own choosing, our own volition, our own falling into something. And sometimes it's almost as if we might, as with the world going on right now, almost seeming like we're going away from ourselves while we go even closer. And while we get even closer, the world sometimes seems further away, is what I'm trying to say. And though we have very, 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 very many things in common, of course we have our unique flair with the body we have taken on for our life, with the country that we live in, the city, the little particulars. So the little choices and the little differences. But once again, we're all in this together. And this is a shared experience, is what I'm trying to say. So with the world being in the place that it is right now, it needs to be going through this, even though we might want certain things to be done a little quicker, certain things to be, oh, isn't it over by now? And at the same time, it seems just right. And some people maybe are not ready, and the transition adjustment is still taking its place on the planet right now. So we're all parts to the great total, and I think this world is really giving us enough challenges, and it's also impactful. And yeah, it seems swift, but at the same time, the pace seems okay. At the same time, you learn to sort of acclimatize or get accustomed to what is happening in the world and what's happening for yourself. I could never stress it enough, the importance of soul retrieval and remembering yourself, remembering your highest self. Remember the state that you remember being in. Remember the state you remember being in. Remember how you were even before your body, and think about how you're going to be when you're out. How similar you still will feel by default, and some things that you'll see pass away as the body passes away, and there went a very massive and important lesson. So everything happening in the world, it's massively important for each and every single one of us, and each and every single one of us is simultaneously, I think, the center of the universe. Every single one of us, not you alone or me alone, them alone, whoever. Every single one of us is an expression and experience of the Almighty Source, called the God. Call it the Buddha mind having an unclear trip. There's many ways to go about this. And we are experiencing this, and we're sharing it. And we are people that feel the same things about a lot of things. And some of us are carrying a lot of tribulation and trials with us, a lot of baggage, as it were, a lot of uncertainty. I often feel uncertain myself. Sometimes I feel, whoa, now I'm not a spring chicken no more per se. And a good portion of the time I feel like I'm not even sure what still I'm doing with myself. I heard that on some movie or some book somewhat recently that it said, I don't know what I'm doing any more than you do. And that was like a generalization to the world between the two characters, but talking about, micro, macro. So what I want to say is, wherever you are, realize your beauty and your integrity inside. And sometimes we don't want to compromise, and sometimes we have to do it a little more than we might like, but we all have to be a little flexible in the world, but not too much. Not where your true character is important and even dignified, even sacred, even blessed. That part of us should never get too dirtied or sullied or giving itself away. Retain essence of childlike wonder, retain your right to be innocent, retain your right to be right, retain your right to be a bit of a fool, because we all are. um, like actors not even knowing we're acting half the time, going out and doing what we have to do, and trying to figure ourselves out while we're in a weird, collected and collectively awkward planet at the moment, as per the life lessons that are necessary. But it's gonna be okay. But be that self. I know that the world projects a lot of garbage and false things, but there's a part of us that always sort of condemns that, even without having to say much. We're like, nah, no thanks. A little too weak, a little too cheap, a little lacking soul, a little something maybe, or we're more mature than that maybe, or been there, done that maybe, or just whatever. And what I'm saying is, I know that deep down, even in the unspoken words between people, you have like these little subtle, almost hard to identify telepathic conversations, subtle in the back of the mind, subconscious, between people. You walk past somebody, or a group, or a busy street, whatever it could be, even nature, for that matter. And you have these subtle communications. Even sometimes just a quick nod and a smile can do a lot. And that's like saying, even though things are seemingly out of place, but ultimately they're okay. So I've been on a hiatus lately, in my own personal way. I was doing a very big job. I had a long drive to work, a big work day, a long drive back, and then I was occupying my time with a romantic interest. But it was a somewhat difficult situation, as long distance could be. God, in these times. And nothing bad to say about the person at all, and I wish her all the best, I sincerely do. And so I was juggling work and then with that, and yeah, my kids on the weekend, trying to keep tiny splinters of a social life here and there. And had been offline by and large for a lot. I just simply didn't need to be on and that active. We take things in stride and in the time that we need it, or in the fashion that we need it. And I feel no regrets either way. And you resume, and those people that are close to you, it's like you can have conversations with friends that you didn't talk to in a while, and then you just continue right where you left off. And some family members are like that. And not all friends are like that, not all family members are like that, obviously. But the good ones, the ones that are suited to you, like your heart's vibe, your tribe, that way. And maybe, epic platonic friendships. I have many people from many, but I know people all over the world that I've bonded with, that even when we don't say much, we say a lot. And it's the same for you, I'm sure. Sacred soul brothers and sisters, soulmate type persons that are in our lives, that just we're always going to groove with them. It's like we're family, we have each other's back, and you know what I'm talking about. So what I want to say for this video is just, retain the right to be your wonderful self. I know it's very hard, but don't let the world be too down on you. We have to remember we are pilgrims passing through this planet. We're not staying here. And if this place is to be a home, in a state more of longevity, apart from popping in and out of bodies and countries and dancing around the planet maybe, but I think if it's to be more of a permanent home with longevity, we would need it to be sustainable and beautiful and agreeable and more friendly, less fearful. I confess that I sometimes walk around and I wish I could be everybody's best friend, in the sense that I don't even need lots of friends, and I don't even need to be, but I don't need to be a stranger to anybody either. I don't need to be afraid of the sizing each other up and having, little insecurities be strange between us, or I don't know you, you don't know me. I mean, the more you know the self, the more you will know others by default. And when you study yourself deeply, spiritually speaking, and even just in common sense, you don't need to read a lot of books, you don't even need to do a lot of meditation or anything to find that. Just be with yourself. Go out in nature and you'll find yourself, and you'll find you'll understand everybody else. And the more you understand other people, of course, you'll reflect it back to you and say, oh, well, how does that show about, what does it show about me, who I am? How similar we are when it comes down to it. How similar we are. How different as well, but how similar we are. So, in that sense, I'm looking for, as many of you are, and I think it feels like it's coming, it feels like it's past due almost. We need a state where we have a wonderful, well, I do believe we're getting there, a wonderful tolerance for each other, a wonderful sense of dignity in being a certain way, not being too immature, not being too derailed off the mind and trashy and desperate for weird things and acting weird. But even those things are a reflection of a person's, wounds or misconceptions of things. And we're here to reflect all things back to each other, and often what we don't like in someone is because we don't like that aspect or potential aspect in us. And it goes two ways and all ways. Sometimes you don't like someone because maybe they're in a better position than yourself, and sometimes you look at someone and you almost like condemn them, like But when we understand the reasons why people think and the motive behind what they do, when we understand, we go, okay, it's not for me, but I can understand it. I see that in little dramas in real life and in fiction. I see people going through things, and I'm like, well, it's not me, but I maybe had a similar thing or more many times, maybe even a lot of times, similar in some way. So I understand it, I appreciate it. So I think if we do this for each other more, appreciate where each one is coming from, and see the overall, that word seems played out lately, but I guess it's not, the overall intention of where that person is, what they mean to give to the world, what sort of feedback and validation maybe we're looking for, and also what self-validation we give to ourselves. And by going through many experiences and by encountering all sorts of things, manifest and not, as it were, well, then we get to find out who we really are and say, okay, well, that's definitely a piece of me, that's something not. It feels like we're coming or we're going from something. We're coming or we're going towards or away from any type of modality of being. Even a planetary experience like this, some of us feel, hey, I'm kind of done here. I don't really think I want to come back and do too much more. And others seem young and very interested in everything. And maybe the overall median of that is just sort of, and we're waiting for the next better phase of life. But this humbling experience, I suppose it was needed. So anyways, 2 years, almost a year and a half of COVID strangeness, but 2020, 2021, well, life will still be awkward, but life will also still be beautiful. And let's not be shy to be ourselves and to be, like I was saying earlier, to be dignified and to be self-possessed, if I may say that word in the old Buddhist sense, to be self-possessed of your own grandeur, your own beauty, your own innocence. And it's okay, wherever you're at, it's all right. And be and breathe who and what you are. And if you don't like who you are or something about yourself, then you can change it. We can be a little bit like chameleons, not in a bad sort of sneaky way to get things, and have weird ulterior motives with people. But what I mean is just have the ability to sort of, for lack of a term, shape-shift yourself or act into being. That's a classic old thing I learned from some Tai Chi class I saw one time posted on a window somewhere in a building. And it said, act into being and act into breathing. It was really interesting. I didn't attend the class. I read that and lightning bolt struck me. I said, that's exactly what we're doing, like a child mimicking the parents, learning how to walk and talk, and eventually having their own personality, of course, but mimicking and learning. And this is what we're doing. So what I mean to say is, act yourself into a better person. And it's not an act, it's just getting out of the habitual modes maybe that you've been in. As for me, I have no regrets for taking a little bit of a hiatus from being making a video or two, my small, humble channel, or having a little more things to do online. But I feel very grateful for nature always. Enjoy long, long walks in the forest. I've been wonderful, and just driving, singing. I'm not a spotlight person, like a big crowd and stuff, but singing in my car and just driving around, seeing the odd friend, going for a fishing trip, spending time with a good friend that way. Yeah, hanging out with my kids. And as for you, whatever you're doing and who you're doing it with, be strong, find yourself. Use also those feelings of any anger or sadness or resentment or regret, and instead of playing them into the sense where it's like a self-perpetuated torture machine for yourself, but potentially dangerous and negative to the outer world, but use that in a positive way somehow. Channel that and turn that into something good. And if you need to take rest, take some rest. We have to stop feeling guilty for every little thing, thinking we're going to offend every little person and be contrary to ourselves in every little way. Keep the innocence and the nobility, the spiritual nobility, but try yourself out in different ways and see. And just the tiniest little things, sometimes the teensy weensy little changes are going to go a long way. Just go for it. And in the end, you're going to realize you knew yourself all along. That's the funny thing. You say, I knew it. I know myself. I knew I would still be like this part could never change. And I knew I needed to change here and there. And it seems scary or daunting sometimes, but maybe not. And sometimes it was wonderful to run towards, or sometimes accidentally fall into, and oh, here I am, how did I get here? Interesting. I did one little thing and something happened, or I just waited and something happened, a window of opportunity. Little things like this happen to us all the time. So there's that. All right, 17 minutes, yeah, that's about good. I'll send this out with all my love and all my sincere well-wishing for everybody, hoping that you're doing okay. Stay you, stay true, stay good, and yeah, keep it on, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you on the other side also too. Take it easy for now. Ciao, my friends. Much love and a wholehearted namaste. Take it easy.